The story of Stradman begins in a very normal and simple way, long before luxury cars and millions of views. He was not someone born into money, and he did not start his journey with expensive cars or big connections. Instead, he lived a regular working life and went through the same struggles that many people face when trying to build a stable future. At one point, he even lost his job, which became a turning point in his life. Around September 2015, he made one of his early big personal decisions by buying a Lamborghini Gallardo, not because he was already rich, but because he saw it as a way to build something new for himself. That car was not just transportation. It became a tool for his future. He started using it to create content and slowly began building a YouTube channel around his passion for cars. At first, the growth was not fast or easy, but there was a clear direction forming. However, life was still unstable at that time. In 2016, he experienced another major setback when he lost his job again, and he had to rely on support from friends, including a former boss who helped him during a difficult period. This early part of his life shows that his success was not immediate. It was built through a mix of risk, struggle, and persistence. These experiences shaped his mindset and pushed him toward taking bigger risks in the future. Instead of giving up, he used every challenge as motivation to move forward. This foundation is important because it explains why later decisions, like buying extremely expensive hypercars, were not random actions but part of a long pattern of risk-taking for growth. His journey from financial instability to online success is what made his story relatable to millions of viewers who followed him over time. A.S. Stradman continued his journey. His YouTube channel slowly started gaining attention. At first, his content was simple and focused on whatever cars he could access. He did not start with supercars or exotic locations. Instead, he filmed ordinary moments, car meets, and anything that could help him stay consistent. Over time, the channel began to grow as viewers connected with his energy, passion, and honest excitement for cars. What made his content different was not production quality in the beginning, but the feeling that he was genuinely living his dream step by step. As the channel improved, so did the cars in his life. He moved from entry-level sports cars to more advanced and expensive machines. Cars like Lamborghinis, a Bugatti Veyron, and even a Hummer EV became part of his journey. Each new car represented a new stage of success and helped push his channel to a wider audience. His growth was not accidental. It was directly linked to how he used his cars as storytelling tools. Every purchase became content, and every content video helped fund future growth. Over time, he built a brand around his personality and his lifestyle, where viewers followed not just the cars, but also his personal journey. This type of content creation created a cycle where bigger cars led to bigger videos, and bigger videos led to more opportunities. However, this also created pressure, because maintaining audience interest required continuous upgrades. The audience expected something bigger each time, and this expectation naturally pushed him toward more extreme automotive choices. This stage of his career is important because it explains how a dream slowly turned into a business model where lifestyle and financial decisions became deeply connected. The turning point in this story came when Stradman made one of his most extreme car decisions by choosing to buy the Koenigsegg HH, a rare and highly valuable hypercar. This was not just another upgrade from his previous cars. It was a massive leap into one of the highest levels of automotive ownership. The car itself already had a strong history, being one of the earlier models from Koenigsegg, and it was known for its rarity and performance. Before this purchase, he had considered other famous hypercars like the McLaren P1, Ferrari LaFerrari, and even a Bugatti Chiron. These were already extremely expensive and respected choices, but he chose something even more unique. When he finally revealed the Koenigsegg in late 2023, it immediately became one of the biggest moments on his channel. The car was wrapped in a bright pink design, making it even more visually striking and perfect for YouTube content. The reaction from viewers was instant and emotional. Many people were excited, some were shocked, and others were confused about how such a purchase was even possible. This moment felt like the peak of his journey, where years of content creation had led to owning one of the rarest hypercars in the world. However, what most viewers did not fully understand at the time was that this purchase came with heavy financial responsibility. The excitement of ownership was only one side of the story. The other side involved long-term payments, maintenance, and pressure to keep the car active in content creation. This decision marked the beginning of a more complicated phase in his career, where success and financial risk became closely linked in a way that was not immediately visible to the audience. After the excitement of the Koenigsegg reveal, the reality of ownership started to become clearer over time. The car was not purchased in a simple way. Instead, it was structured through a lease arrangement, which is common for high-value assets, but still creates ongoing financial pressure. The monthly cost was extremely high, around $35,000 or more, which immediately changed the way people viewed the situation. For most people, this amount is far beyond normal living expenses, and even for successful creators, it represents a serious long-term commitment. What made the situation even more intense was the fact that the payments continued regardless of how much the car was used. Even if the car was in storage, being repaired, or not generating content, the financial obligation remained the same. This created a constant pressure that many viewers did not fully consider when watching the glamorous videos. Stradman himself shared parts of this reality in his content, explaining that he was not always in a position to buy the car outright, but chose to take the opportunity anyway. This decision reflects a common mindset in high-level content creation, where timing and opportunity often matter more than financial comfort. However, it also introduced a long-term responsibility that required consistent income from the channel. The car was no longer just a dream object. It became a financial system that had to be maintained through content performance. This is where the story becomes more serious, because it shows how lifestyle choices in the public eye can quickly turn into ongoing financial pressure that is invisible to most viewers. 81st. Everything seemed to be working perfectly after the Koenigsegg entered Stradman's channel. The car became a major focus of his content, bringing in millions of views and creating a new wave of excitement. Road trips, collaborations, and cinematic videos helped make the car one of the most recognizable hypercars on YouTube. From the outside, it looked like a dream situation where success had reached a new level. However, behind the success, problems slowly started to appear. The car began experiencing mechanical issues, which is not unusual for extremely advanced machines, but the impact was still significant. At one point, the car developed serious problems like misfires, and even had to be towed for repairs. These moments created unexpected challenges because they directly affected content production. When the car was not available, it became harder to create videos around it, which also impacted channel performance. Repairing a Koenigsegg is not simple, as it often requires specialized parts, international support, and significant costs. This added another layer of financial and logistical pressure on top of the already high monthly payments. During this time, Stradman also sold other cars, which led viewers to speculate about his financial situation. While some of these decisions were explained as normal business moves, they still added uncertainty in the eyes of the audience. This phase of the story shows how even successful content creators can face hidden challenges when their content depends heavily on high-value assets. What looks like luxury and freedom from the outside can often involve stress, maintenance problems, and constant financial balancing behind the scenes. As the story developed, the audience reaction became an important part of the narrative. Viewers were not just watching the car anymore. They were also analyzing Stradman's financial decisions and trying to understand what was really happening behind the scenes. Social media platforms began to spread clips of the car's breakdowns, towing moments, and repair updates. These moments quickly turned into discussions, jokes, and theories about whether the situation was becoming too heavy financially. Some viewers believed that the Koenigsegg was a smart business move that boosted his content significantly. Others thought it might be putting too much pressure on his finances. This divide created a kind of ongoing public debate around his ownership. Even when Stradman explained certain decisions, such as selling other cars or dealing with repairs, people continued to speculate. This is common in the world of YouTube, where audiences often feel emotionally invested in creators' lives and begin to interpret every decision as part of a bigger story. In this case, the Koenigsegg became more than just a car. It became a symbol of success, pressure, and risk. Every update about it was treated as important news within the automotive community. Over time, this attention added more pressure to the situation because now the story was not just private or personal anymore. It was public and constantly being analyzed. This level of visibility is one of the unique challenges of being a high-profile automotive creator, where personal financial decisions can quickly turn into public discussion topics. The story of Stradman and the Koenigsegg Adra HH is not just about one car or one creator. It reflects a much bigger reality about success, content creation, and financial risk in the modern digital world. At its core, this story shows how passion can turn into a business, and how that business can sometimes create pressure that is not visible from the outside. Owning a hypercar like a Koenigsegg is often seen as the ultimate dream, but the reality behind it includes payments, maintenance, risk, and responsibility. For creators like Stradman, these cars are not only personal achievements, but also content tools that must perform financially over time. If the content slows down, the pressure increases. If the car has issues, the business model is affected. This creates a system where success and stress exist side by side. The important lesson here is that luxury and freedom in the online world are often supported by complex financial decisions that require careful planning. What looks like pure success from a viewer's perspective is often a balance between opportunity and risk behind the scenes. In the end, the Koenigsegg story is less about failure or success and more about the reality of scaling a lifestyle through content creation. It shows how far someone can go when passion meets opportunity, but also how every major step forward comes with hidden responsibilities that most people never see. When people see a creator like Stradman owning a Koenigsegg, it often looks like the peak of success. From the outside, it seems like a dream life where expensive cars are bought easily, filmed beautifully, and enjoyed without stress. But in reality, high-end car ownership at this level is very different from what most viewers imagine. Cars like the Koenigsegg Adra HH are not just vehicles. They are complex machines that require constant care, specialized maintenance, and large financial commitments. Every part of the ownership experience is expensive, from insurance to servicing to transportation. Even small issues can turn into major expenses because these cars cannot be fixed in regular workshops. They require expert technicians and sometimes even factory-level support. This creates a situation where owning the car is not a one-time achievement, but an ongoing financial responsibility that never stops. In the case of Stradman, this reality became even more visible because the car was also part of his content business. That means the Koenigsegg was not only a personal dream, but also a tool for generating views, engagement, and revenue. This creates a double pressure system. On one side, the car must perform as a reliable and exciting part of content creation. On the other side, it must be financially sustainable in real life. When the car works well, it brings huge success. But when it has issues, both the financial and content sides are affected at the same time. This is something many viewers do not fully understand when watching highlight videos online. They see the excitement, the driving, and the cinematic shots, but they do not see the behind-the-scenes costs and stress that come with keeping such a machine alive and functional. This part of the story is important because it highlights the hidden gap between online perception and real-world responsibility in luxury car ownership. The Koenigsegg Adra HH did not just represent another car purchase in Stradman's journey. It became a turning point in how his entire channel and life structure operated. Before this purchase, his channel followed a familiar pattern of upgrading cars, creating content around them, and growing steadily with each new addition. But after entering the hypercar level, everything changed in scale. The financial stakes became much higher, the audience expectations increased, and the pressure to maintain consistent high-level content grew stronger. This shift is important because it marks a transition from a normal car YouTube channel into something closer to a high-budget media production. The Koenigsegg also changed the type of content being produced. Instead of simple car reviews or casual vlogs, videos became more dramatic, more cinematic, and more focused on storytelling. Every update about the car started feeling like an episode in a larger, ongoing series. This helped increase viewer engagement, but also meant that the car had to remain relevant and active in order to sustain the storyline. If the car was unavailable due to repairs or other issues, the entire content flow was affected. This dependency created a fragile system where one asset had a large impact on the entire channel's direction. Over time, this made the Koenigsegg more than just a dream car. It became the central pillar of the channel's identity during that period. This is why it is often seen as a turning point in his journey, because it elevated both the success and the risk at the same time. Another major factor in this story is the role of the audience. In modern YouTube culture, especially in automotive content, viewers are not passive watchers. They actively follow the creator's journey, analyze decisions, and form opinions about financial and lifestyle choices. When Stradman bought the Koenigsegg, the audience reaction was extremely strong. Some people admired the achievement and saw it as proof of his success. Others questioned whether it was financially responsible or sustainable. This split reaction created ongoing discussions across YouTube comments, social media platforms, and car communities. As time went on, every update about the car became a topic of debate. When the car had mechanical issues, people speculated about financial stress. When other cars were sold, viewers connected the dots and created theories. Even when explanations were given, the audience continued to analyze every detail. This shows how online success comes with a hidden layer of public pressure. Creators are not just managing content anymore. They are also managing expectations, narratives, and interpretations from millions of viewers. This pressure can influence decisions in subtle ways. For example, creators may feel the need to keep certain assets visible, continue certain storylines, or maintain a specific image even when behind-the-scenes reality is more complicated. In the case of the Koenigsegg, the audience's emotional investment made the car feel like more than just a vehicle. It became part of a shared story between the creator and his viewers. This kind of connection is powerful, but it also increases pressure because every change is noticed and discussed. This dynamic is a key part of understanding why high-profile YouTube stories often feel larger than life. The idea that the Koenigsegg almost ruined Stradman's journey is not about a single moment of failure. Instead, it refers to the accumulation of pressure, responsibility, and financial commitment that came with owning such an expensive and complex machine. On paper, the purchase represents success.